Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Millennial Bard. The Supergirl teaser dropped last week, and as always, I've got thoughts. Now, before we proceed, just a few things here. For the last couple of nights, I've been trying to shoot a video on Supergirl, but for some weird reason, the dogs in my locality have been really talkative. So, this is a last moment attempt for me. I also have to leave in the next 45 minutes for Avatar Fire and Ash. Not gonna lie, I'm actually going for the Avengers Doomsday trailer and the 6 minutes of Odyssey first look that we're gonna get. But all things said and done, I think this teaser still deserved its attention on my channel. Now, my first thoughts about this teaser. Is it a path breaking teaser? No. Anything experimental, anything out of the box? Not at all. It's a fairly safe teaser. It's a decent teaser. It's a good teaser. But did it blow the socks off of me? No. Did it get me excited? Did it get me hyped up the way the Superman trailer did? It did not. Not necessarily a bad thing. On its own, I think the teaser gave us a glimpse into a lot of things that are going to be very instrumental in this movie and in DCU going forward. Now, let's talk about those. For those of you who don't know, Supergirl is based on the book Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, written by Tom King. And again, it is a fantastic comic book. It is a fantastic work of art. From the colors to the story to even the themes that they cover. It is a phenomenal book. Now, if you've got a comic book store around your house, definitely give it a go. Highly recommend it. But if you don't, I've recently found this new app, and just to put it out there, this is not an affiliate ad. I'm not getting paid for this, but I genuinely fell in love with this app. It's called Global Comics. Now, for those of you living in India, it is far easier for us to get our hands on a Marvel comic or even the Marvel Unlimited app. And DC has always been really hard to get, whether it's the movies, it's the comic books, it's even the merchandise. But with Global Comics, you get access to the biggest names in the comic book industry. You get access to Marvel, you get access to DC, you get access to Vertigo, you get access to Dark Horse, and you also get access to some amazing IPs like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Transformers, Invincible, The Boys. Absolutely recommend it. Give it a go. And that's where I've been reading this book. Now, about the book, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. The story starts with a 21-year-old Supergirl flying off to another planet with a red sun just so she can get drunk and celebrate her 21st birthday. It's actually that she just wants to drink away her sorrows. And that's where she bumps into this little girl who is out for revenge for her father's murder. Now, the rest of the book is about Supergirl helping this little lady get her revenge. Stylistically, visually, this book is a sensory experience. The colors are bright. Every single page, every single panel, the colors are just jumping at you. And it is just so much joy, especially for someone like me who's just come out of the Daredevil comics, the Brian Michael Bendis run, and getting into this because Daredevil's got really muted colors, really saturated colors, that gritty tone to it. And suddenly here, everything is bright. Even in moments of sorrow, in moments of grief, in moments of sadness, the colors are bright as ever. Now, there are some things about this book that I'm really excited to see in the movie. The first one being, we're going to go into the heartbreaking origins of Supergirl. If you remember in the teaser, there's a line where Supergirl says, Krypton did not die in a day. This movie is going to give you an expanded version of that. And I am really excited about that. Because the Superman movie this year did not dive too deep into Kryptonian culture or giving us any visuals of Krypton as such. All we had in the name of Krypton was just Bradley Cooper and the other lady playing Kal-El's parents in that recording. But here, and we get a visual of this in the teaser as well. You get to see the it's like a 2 second sequence where you get to see how the final moments on Krypton were. You get to see the dresses that they wear. You get to see what their architecture looks like. So I think that's going to be really interesting, and that's something I really look forward to. And I really pray they are staying away from. On that note, the main villain of the book is known as Krem. Now, when you read the book, Krem looks like an Irish Viking with a red beard and red long locks, and I really dug that character design. There is something spectacular, there is something very stirring about looking at a bad guy who doesn't look ugly, who looks very ordinary, because it draws a very sharp contrast in how ordinary someone can look and how devious and how evil can they actually be beneath it. Over here though, in the teaser, as far as I saw, Krem looks like Taserface. You know, that ugly as guy from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So personally, I think that is a swing. In the context of the movie, it may or it may not work, but I personally am not a big fan of that right now. Now, the other thing is there is no Lobo in the Storm King book. But for the longest time, even before I think we knew who's gonna play Supergirl, we knew that Jason Momoa is gonna be Lobo. We get like a half a second glimpse at Lobo. And again, full credit. Lobo is one of those characters that has become iconic because of the way he looks and the quips that he comes with. He didn't get any dialogues in the teaser, but as such, you just see that cigar that he's smoking, you see that sliver of light, and you see his eyes. It's a very blurry visual that I got, but it's gotten me excited. I want to see that. Now, how that Lobo character fits into this movie is going to be really interesting, because there's been a lot of chatter going around who's going to be the main villain in Man of Tomorrow that's going to be dropping in 2027. The biggest theory out there is that it's going to be Brainiac. In the comics and in Superman the animated series, Lobo's been known to pick up a bounty here and there from Brainiac. Here's what I think is going to happen here, and how Lobo fits into the scheme of things, and how Supergirl fits into the scheme of things. I think Lobo's going to come hunting for Supergirl because he's taken a bounty from Brainiac. He's taken a bounty from Brainiac to bring him a Kryptonian for his collection. So that's going to be really fun. I think it's going to just add another dimension where Supergirl and this little lady known as Ruthie, they're going to be after Krem, but Lobo's going to be after them. And then as we head into Man of Tomorrow, we're going to get a first proper look at Brainiac. Brainiac's going to be the big bad in that movie. And Supergirl is going to be the connective tissue between the first Superman movie and Man of Tomorrow. And I'm all up for it. Now, visually, like I said, the comic, it is a celebration of colors. Every panel is so vibrant. Every color is so vibrant. It's almost like you'd want to see this comic play out on a 4K screen. But surprisingly, in the teaser, the colors look very saturated. There's a lot of sepia shades that you're getting. The colors are really toned down. It's got that real gritty look to it. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's really a long stretch to say that I want the exact same colors that I got in the comic on the screen, because it may not work in reality. But I think it's going to be an interesting take. Now, a couple other things here. Is Supergirl going to make more money than Superman at the box office? I don't think so. Having said that, Supergirl would be compared to Superman as a movie. It is going to be compared to Guardians of the Galaxy, because you see a lot of that space fantasy adventure elements in this movie. So there's going to be comparisons there. Supergirl as a character and as a movie would also be compared against some of the biggest DC characters and some of the biggest DC films that we've ever gotten. She's going to be compared to a Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. The movie is going to be compared to the books as well. But what is going to be really interesting to see is how seriously does this movie take those comparisons? Does it really try to establish itself and find its own place, or really compete against the bigwigs? Or does it just carry on with its business and be the best version that it possibly could be? I'm really rooting for the second version. I'm really rooting for the second option here. I think Supergirl has to be the best Supergirl movie there can ever be. It does not have to take that pressure of competing against any other character or any other movie. Remember when Iron Man came out in 2008, when Guardians of the Galaxy came out in 2014. These characters weren't that well known, or they weren't doing that well. But the beauty of working with a lesser known character is that you have a blank canvas. You have so much liberty to play around with that character the way you want. You liked a certain element in the books, you can pick it up. You liked a certain element from the TV show, pick it up. You want to create something of your own, you can do that. Whereas with a character like a Batman, that becomes really difficult. Because Batman's got a large, probably the biggest fan base there is. And there are a lot of people who are going to be sitting around and dictating how Batman should be, how Batman should look, how his suit should look, how tall should he be, what should his hair look like, what should his personality be, should he have broad shoulders, whatever. With Supergirl, you've got none of that. And I think that is a blessing in disguise. And I think they really need to go even harder on that point. The artists, the filmmaker, the screenplay writer, I'm hoping that they've gone all guns blazing to express themselves as artistically as possible. Now, that final point. Is Supergirl gonna become one of the bigwigs in DCU, considering how early she's come here? I don't think so. I don't think she's gonna enjoy that prestige and that prominence that a Wonder Woman or a Superman, a Batman, or even a Green Lantern enjoys. But I think what's gonna happen with Supergirl is exactly what happened with Sam Wilson in MCU. I don't think she's gonna become a flag bearer for DC. Not by a mile. What I think is really gonna happen is that DC's picked up a B tier character. I'm sorry if you feel offended by this, but I really don't think Supergirl is one of the most popular characters in DC. She is a B tier character at best. So what DC can do by making a good movie, by really fleshing out this character, by really adding a bite to this character, is they bump up a B tier character to an A tier character. Not completely worthy of pulling an entire franchise on its own, but still prominent enough to carry the stories forward, to still be the connective tissue. Now, if you've watched the teaser and you've read the book, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this Supergirl first teaser. Please drop them in the comments, and if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, share this video with your super family, and subscribe to TMB for the latest and the best in superhero, pop culture, cinema, and sports. That last one's a work in progress yet. And stay tuned to my channel, because coming up next is a review for Avatar Fire and Ash, which is perhaps gonna be the biggest blockbuster of 2025. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that there's gonna be my first look at Avengers Doomsday as well, because if that happens, that is an entire conversation in itself. Until next time, stay chill, be kind, and keep smiling. This is the Millennial Bard, signing off.